Hello, students. It is so good to virtually see you. I am Mrs. Anderson, and I am going to be your art teacher this year. I am really excited to meet you. I am really excited to get creating with you. But before we do that, I wanted to introduce myself and show you around our virtual classroom. So our virtual classroom is set up so that it's very similar to what our regular classroom will look like when we're in the building teaching in person. For now, we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be learning online. We're going to be learning virtually. So I put together this little classroom to help you get to know me and so that you get to know some of the norms and the expectations of art class. So this is the front of our classroom. All right, I have my desk, I have my document camera, which you'll see me use so that you can see how I do art and then you can do art. All right, I have my whiteboard in the front of the room. I have a rug in the front of the room. So younger kids, when you come into the classroom with me, you get to come in and sit on the rug and we talk about our lesson together and then we go and sit in our workspace. Older kids, middle school kids, you guys come in and you sit right at your desk, but you will be able to still see the whiteboards. The whiteboard is where all of the goals for the day will be, where the projects for the day, for the classes will be, and where all of our instructions will be. I also have this easel over here in the front of my classroom. This will just be used to display maybe whatever we're working on, what our finished product will look like. For now, I just put a little photo of this painting that I did a few years ago that was actually in an art gallery in Florida this summer. So I wanted to just show it to you so you can see a little bit of the artwork that I do too. So that's just one of my pieces. All right, let's keep looking around our classroom. All right, this is then our work area. So like I said, older kids, middle schoolers, when you come in, you go right to your tables or desks and you're gonna sit so that way we can get started on our lessons. Obviously, you're already sitting at home, right? But whenever you're working, it doesn't matter if it's art, doesn't matter if it's math, doesn't matter if it's science, you always want to make sure that you're in good posture, right? So you're sitting up straight, your bottom is on your chair, your back is against the back. In our virtual classroom here, we have stools, but in actual school, we have chairs, right? So you have your back against the back of the chair. We have some good lighting for us up here, right, hanging from our virtual ceiling. And then I have a couple of posters hanging up. And we can actually click and look at these posters a little bit closer. All right, so this is my Coloring 101 poster. This poster is going to be in the room when you guys come in to the classroom. All right, for now we have our virtual digital version so that you can see it. All right, so Coloring 101 basically just shows you how to use drawing materials, mostly crayons, colored pencils, and markers, the right way, right? So if I look at these three circles on the left side here, I can see things are colored in nice and even, right? Really great color. Whereas over here we have like this scribble scrabble. We are artists in my classroom, right? So no scribble scrabble. We're going to do our best all the time, whether we're in person, whether we're virtual, whether we're at home, it doesn't matter. We're always going to be doing our best, all right? Our other poster over here is my hold up poster. Before you turn in, you need to check and make sure you did a few things for the day, right? So hold up before you turn in. Did you try your best? That's the first thing. I really want to see you try your best all of the time. Did you understand the concept of what we were learning or working on today? Did you ask if you needed help, right? If you need help, don't be afraid to ask me. I'm here for you. Don't be afraid to maybe even ask your friends or the people who you sit near in class, right? You are all there to help each other. Did you support those around you? If someone asked you for help, did you help them in a kind way? And did you reach your goal? Mostly older kids, but every class we're going to have a goal, okay? So whether that means that we're going to finish a project a day, whether that means we're going to finish a step in a project, whether that means we're just going to go over a new lesson together, we're always going to have a goal, right, that we as a class need to reach, all right? Let's go back to our room. So this is our workstation part of our room, all right? Again, our classroom is going to be set up as close to this as possible, but it's a little bit prettier, I think, on the computer. All right, let's see what's next. All right, so this is the next part of our room. This is the materials part of our room. Usually when there are materials in the classroom, I am the one who can handle them. You, obviously, if there are materials at your table, are welcome to handle and use whatever's at your table. But you have to make sure you're following directions, right? So if there are things on shelves or in closets, those are things that are just for me that I've organized for the whole school to use. All right. So we have a couple more posters, and then I'm going to talk about some of these materials that you see on the cabinets or in the cabinets in our classroom. All right, so let's see. Okay, this poster, again, these posters all hang in our room, but here you get a digital version. So this poster says artists are, and then there's a lot of words. There's a lot of words on this poster, right? Because artists come in every shape and form. We're all artists and we're all different, right? We're students, we're teachers, we're creative, we're supportive, we're problem solvers and saints and critical thinkers, right? But most of all, we're loved. And in this classroom, you are an artist, whether we're in person together or we are virtually doing art together. You are an artist, and that's something that you need to remember from the very beginning. All right. Oh, our other poster is our art room rules. Super easy because there's only 3, and they spell out A-R-T, art. How convenient. All right, so our A in art stands for your attention. Your attention is on me if I'm speaking, if I'm in front of you or on Zoom. Your attention is on your work when you're sitting and doing your work because you have a goal to get it done every day. All right, so your attention needs to be on the appropriate place. The R in art stands for respect. So respect can mean a lot of different things, right? If I'm talking, then you're respecting me by listening. If your classmate is talking, then you're respecting your classmate by listening to them. If you're using materials, and remember, these materials are shared for the whole school to use, then you're respecting materials. You're not breaking pencils, you're not using things inappropriately or wasting paper, right? Because our materials are for us, but they're also for everyone else in our school. And that's a really easy and awesome way to show others respect. All right. And the last rule is just to try. I already mentioned that, but you always have to try. I'm going to ask you to do stuff maybe you've never done before, and that is totally fine. Okay. I know you can do it because you are talented, you are smart, you're an artist. Okay. So you always have to give yourself the opportunity to improve and try something new. All right, we're back here to our materials section of our room. All right, so I kind of broke them up. So on this cabinet over here, we have our wet mediums, and over here we kind of have our dry mediums. All right, you're pretty much always going to need a pencil. All right, crayons, colored pencils, those things are considered dry drawing materials because they're dry. If you touch them, your paper isn't wet, your hand won't mess it up, right? It's a dry material. Whereas things like paint, watercolor, glue, if you touch those, they're wet, right? Or they could mess up your paper if you touch them too early. So we're going to start the year with just dry materials, right? We're just going to start with some drawing projects. If you have markers at home, perfect. If you have crayons at home, amazing. If you have colored pencils, phenomenal. If you don't have any of those things, don't worry about it yet, okay? We are going to make sure that if virtual learning continues, you get everything you need. But for the first few weeks of school and the first few weeks of art class, we're just going to go slow and use some really simple drawing materials, okay? Hopefully when we get back into the building, we can start using fun and different materials that we will learn how to use together. All right, there's still 2 more posters up here that I want to show you because these are going to be in your classroom too, and we're going to talk about them a lot. Okay, so one of these posters is on the elements of art. So there are 7 elements of art. We're going to talk about them a lot during the school year. No matter how old you are, no matter what grade you're in, we're going to talk about the elements of art. Okay, line, shape, color, value, form, texture, space. They all mean different things. Don't worry, we'll learn about them. The other poster is for the principles of design. The principles of design are more for like middle schoolers. So if you're in middle school, we'll probably get to talk about the principles of design a little later in the year. All right, so balance, contrast, emphasis, movement, pattern, rhythm, unity, all of these things that make up different works of art, you're going to learn about. All right, so this is our material section of our room. We're going to move on to the next part. All right, this is our gallery wall. So again, remember, everybody's school, the art room is a little different, but there's always going to be space to display artwork, okay? So sometimes we might have your work displayed on our gallery wall. Sometimes we might have work from other famous artists displayed on our gallery wall, right? But there's always going to be art up in our classroom. So this is our little gallery wall that we can look at. I figured since you're still trying to get to know me and I'm still trying to get to know you, I would show you some of my favorite works of art right now. Okay, so let's zoom in on these so you can look at some of these with me. So this is a painting by a really famous artist. Maybe you've heard of him. His name is Vincent van Gogh. It's called Landscape with Cypresses. It's one of my favorites. I just love the colors and the texture. If you look closely at the real painting, which is hanging in New York City, you can see how much paint and texture, and it's just so beautiful to look at. All right. Ooh, this next one is one of my faves too. Okay, so this is by an artist named Tim Okamura. He is still alive and he lives in New York City. That's where actually I just moved from. I just moved to Philadelphia from New York City. So he draws or paints really these really beautiful images of women of color that he sees around the streets and how they inspire him. So this is one of just my favorites by him. It's called Rosie. Here is another one. Okay, this is also by an artist who's still alive today and making art. His name is John Nava. This is a small part of a really, really big work of art that he made for the cathedral in Los Angeles. So this is called the Communion of Saints. He does this really cool thing where he kind of programs computers to draw and weave. So there's a lot of different multimedia parts that he puts into his work. And I just think that his stuff is so beautiful. So this is one of my faves by him. And this is another classic by an artist named Georgia O'Keeffe. She was an American artist and one of the most famous female artists ever. And this is called Poppies. And again, I just love the colors in this. They're so bright and vibrant, and I just love flowers. I don't know if you can tell from the wallpaper in my virtual classroom. And I just really love this painting. So I wanted to show it to you too. Okay, so this is our gallery wall. And now we're back to the beginning. So now you have a little bit of an idea of what our virtual classroom looks like. We're going to talk way more at length once the school year gets started. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I'm super excited to get to know you all and get working with you all. And hopefully this year will be awesome. All right. Bye, guys.